What is up, all my kaiju friends and fans? This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room here in Greater Cincinnati. And in this video, I'm asking everyone, what if you could take 5 of your X plus figures, 25-30 centimeter scale, and make them gigantic? Which ones would you choose? Very interesting concept and question. I would also like to ask Matt Jacobson, Gojira 851, Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews, Casey Roberts from Jurassic Reviews, Super Ghidorah from Al Storage. I don't want to mess up your name, Al. Al Storage from Super Ghidorah. All these guys, YouTubers. Also Rich Eats So from Fresh Vinyl Reviews, if you want it to. I would like you guys to post your, even do a video if you like on your channels of what 5 X plus figures would you choose. Just make them gigantic. Same pose, same sculpt, same everything. What 5 figures in your collection, or any figure that's X plus, would you choose to make it from a 25 or a 30 centimeter scale into a gigantic scale? And my concept is you're taking the exact same sculpt and paint app and everything, and you're just making it a gigantic. If you guys want to post a video like this, that would be cool. If not, just comment below of your list. But I'm just putting it out there for everyone. I've chosen 5 that I would like to see. Just basically this figure blown up into a gigantic. It's just I like the figures that much, and it would be cool to have them as a gigantic. These are in no particular order, but it is 5 from my, I don't know, 180 something or 150 roughly, I don't know, X plus figures I have. It's 5 of those out of my, and they're all from the 25 and 30 centimeter lineup. So but I chose 5 that I would love to see this exact figure, sculpt, everything, just blown up into gigantic scale. I'll move on to the first figure. Let's do that right now. All right, everyone, here is a first figure I'd love to see go from its current scale of 25 centimeter to a gigantic sized figure. This is the X Plus Large Monster Series 25 centimeter Godzilla 1965. It's 2018's X Plus Figure of the Year, voted on by in the X Plus Collectors Group. It won hands down, and I can see why by this figure. It is a very impressive figure. I love the sculpt on it and the pose. It's great. I think they really captured the essence and the look of the 1965 Godzilla, which is actually from Invasion of the Astro Monster, or Monster Zero, as we affectionately know it. But this sculpt is very impressive, from its tail to its head. Everything about it screams that 65. I mean, even his jaw is kind of funky looking and a little crooked. But to me, that's just the way the Showa era figures were. It's just the suit. To me, it recognizes the suit, the flexibility, I'm sure, in the rubber suit of the jaws. So I love that it does that personally. It's a little wonky, a little off there as far as the jaw, you can see. But that's part of the charm of Showa, in my opinion. It's just a perfect rendition of the 1965 Godzilla, and it doesn't shock me that it was the figure of the year last year. It's just a great sculpt of the 1965 Godzilla, and it is definitely a figure out of all my X Plus lineup that I would just want to take this exact sculpt and make it 18 inches tall. So, and just blow it up. Great little figure. If you don't have this, you can afford yourself the money and time. Highly recommend that the Godzilla 1965 X Plus 25 centimeter large monster series. 2018's X Plus figure of the year. Very nicely done. All right, we'll move on to my next choice to be blown up to gigantic scale. Let's do that right now. All right, X Plus. Hint, hint. Prime One Studios gave us a Heisei Gamera earlier this year. Very awesome figure, Gamera 1999. Let's say X Plus gives us a Heisei Gamera in gigantic scale. This Gamera 1996 by X Plus, large monster series, 25 centimeter. Very, very awesome figure. If I'm not mistaken, I got this from Matt Parmalee a couple years ago when I first started collecting. He's in the X Plus group. He's a local guy. I went and picked it up from him. It's a great figure. I love it. Nicely done, nicely sculpted, nice details, nice look to him. It is Gamera in every way, shape, and form of the Heisei Gamera. And I feel like X Plus starting to branch out from Godzilla in the Gigantics with the upcoming gigantic Mecha Godzilla 1974, and also they made mention of a gigantic Gigan. I just feel it would be cool if they branched out and did a Gamera, and I really actually would prefer this sculpt right here. My only concern with this would be, will this thing fall over when it, I hope it wouldn't fall over. They would make him a little more upright, because most of these Heisei Gamera X Plus figures, everyone knows they're forward leaning quite a bit. That's what I love about the Showa 67 30 centimeter Gamera. He's more standing straight up. But this here is a leaner. Most of the other Heisei Gameras, the smaller scale ones, are leaners, forward leaners. Now, I don't have none of the 30 centimeter Gamera X Plus, the Heisei ones. They had a 95 and 96 and a 99, I believe, released. I don't have any of those, and they are so rare and so expensive if you see them. I really do wish they would reissue those. But if I was, my current collection, if I was to choose one Gamera to blow up to gigantic, I think I would choose this 96, this sculpt, this pose. Just hope he wouldn't fall over. That's all. But he's really excellent figure. Very, very cool Gamera design. Captures the 96 very well. All right, let's move on to my next figure that I would want to blow up from smaller scale to a gigantic. Let's do that right now. All right, everybody. Of course, you know me. If anybody that knows me knows that I'm a Godzilla 1968 fan. The suit 68 through 72, one of my favorites. And this figure, the 30 centimeter X Plus Godzilla 1968, captures that suit and that essence of that Godzilla very well. I love how his pose is. I love how his hand here has his little pinky up like that. It captures that Godzilla very, very, very well. And the way they did both hands, both fingers on both hands, it captures the way he would do his hands. Haru Nakajima would do his hands in the suit. It's just very great. Along with everything else about the figure, I love it. I just love this figure. It's a great figure. One of my favorite suits, along with the next suit in the Showa era. Those two suits are my favorites by far as design wise. But this is by far really cool. I love this figure. I love this sculpt. I got it early on in my collecting. I believe I got this and the original release Godzilla 64 standard edition, so it's not the closed mouth. I got them two on the same day. It was a double box day. And that was an epic box day for sure. But this suit right here has become one of my favorites, along with the next suit in the Showa era. Very memorable. Reason they are my favorites is it's my childhood. The movies in that window, 68 through 75, are the ones that I remember watching the most when I was a kid, when I was a young kid, that got me following Godzilla and then got me to watch all the movies, 68 through 75. In particular, the 70s movies, 71 through 75, are really the ones starting with Hadra and to Terror Mecha Godzilla. Those are the ones that I really remember. Also, Godzilla's Revenge. That movie, for some reason, I remember seeing it a lot on TV when I was little. But this suit is great. The sculpt is great. I think they captured his whole look and design of the 68 through 72 suit. I love this figure. I love the sculpt. It's very, very cool. I would blow this thing up to gigantic. And if X Plus did, I would buy it in a heartbeat, I'm pretty sure. I would pre-order it with no doubt. And they captured him so well. His teeth, everything, it's so nicely done. It's just a very, very impressive looking Godzilla, in my opinion. Love to see this as a gigantic. This is the X Plus 30 centimeter Godzilla 1968. All right, let's move on to the next figure I would love to see just blown up to 18 inches tall. Let's do that right now. Oh my goodness, yeah, buddy. This might be a surprise to some people, but I would love to see this figure blown up to gigantic scale. This is the X Plus 30 centimeter Hadra 1971. It's a big, huge 30 centimeter figure, so I'm guessing if you was to scale it, like I've got a custom gigantic 68, and he's basically 18 inches tall, I would think this thing would need to be 22 inches tall, just to scale well with a proper gigantic, because Hadra towered over Godzilla. So I would think a gigantic Hadra would need to be that tall, but it is a nice sculpt. I love how they did it. I love the way his arms are positioned. It reminds me of many scenes in the film, like when he was facing off Godzilla, he would have his arms like that. I like how his tail goes down and then comes up into the air. It's very reminiscent of Hadra in the movie. This is probably my favorite Hadra in my collection. I do have the 25 centimeter Rick. I have the crawling. I have the first form walking. I even have a custom flyer made by Mark Sing Yang, but this is my favorite Hadra probably in my collection right now to date. And I think it would be an easy gigantic, just because he don't have wings, he don't have no protruding spikes or nothing. So I think it would be a big gigantic, but it would be an easy one for X Plus to make, because there wouldn't be difficulty with spikes and stuff. And like if they're going to do that Gigan, it's going to have a lot of spiky points and stuff, and I just hope it doesn't get broken in shipping. But this here I think would be a big gigantic, but it would be a simple one for them to produce. And I just love this pose and his demeanor on this sculpt. It really captures Hadra, in my opinion, from the film. But this would be another X Plus smaller scale figure that I would love to see. Gigantic size, the X Plus 30 centimeter Hadra. All right, let's move on to my final choice of what I would like to see blown up to gigantic scale by X Plus. Let's do that right now. All right, everybody, here it is, my final choice. Everybody that knows me probably knew this was coming. I would love to see this exact sculpt and pose of this Godzilla in gigantic scale. I would blow this up in a heartbeat. The X Plus 30 centimeter Godzilla 1975. This is the Rick edition, which came with extra arms, and one of them would hold Mechagodzilla's head. I just like this pose as it is. I've never even ever changed it to be that Rick edition, so I just love this the way it is. I love the pose. I love the way he's upright and got his hands up like he's ready for battle. The way his tail goes down and curves up into the air. It's just a really dynamic, it's dynamic, which is weird to say because he's just kind of like he's standing, but to me it looks like he's, ready to throw down, and he's got a really intense look and stare on his face. Very nicely done by X Plus. This here is the quintessential 75 in my opinion. They've only done 2, and the 25 centimeter, from what I've seen, I don't have it, but from what I've seen, it's not nearly as good as this. I mean, they really captured the 75. Even if you look at his teeth and his mouth, they're all, how he had the crooked teeth on the upper jaw, they're all nicely done. It's just a very impressive figure by X Plus. And of course, as I said earlier, my favorite suit with this and the 68 through 72 suit, 73 through 75 suit are they're just my favorite designs of Godzilla. Like I said, my childhood lies in these movies, in these films. These were the prevalent films of my childhood that I would watch of Godzilla films, and got me into it. And then, you know, of course, I went and watched everything else and discovered that Godzilla had a rich history, you know. But these were the films that got me into all this. But I mean, let's look at his posture and his stance. It is the 75, clearly, in my opinion. Very nicely done figure. I would blow this thing up to gigantic scale in a heartbeat if I could. So it's a great figure. Highly recommend. If you don't have any of these figures I've shown, if you can get them, they are great. But I would love to see all these figures blowed up to gigantic scale. Would be really cool. Alright, I will bring all the figures back, and we'll do a closing comment here, and we'll do that right now. Alright everybody, I'm back, and here they are, the 5 figures. It was kind of a hard choicing to do, honestly, really, because like I thought about the 25 centimeter Godzilla 2000, but we've already got a stylized gigantic 2000, so I was picking figures that X Plus don't have a particular gigantic of yet and are kind of unique. So that's why I thought Gamera would be cool, Hadra would be cool. The other 3 are Godzillas. I mean, I could have easily chosen others. I thought about, like, you know, the Sakayo 2, just having a gigantic of it. That would be epic. But we just got that 30 centimeter. I mean, these are all unique figures, I think. I love these all, and I would love to see them in a gigantic scale. That's just why I picked these particular figures. It's just, these are the ones that strike me as, like, man, I would love to see this as a gigantic, you know. That's why I chose these particular figures. And I chose ones that I didn't think it would be hard for them to do gigantics of. Of course, they master Godzilla, but like Gamera and this Hadra, I don't think those would be overly difficult. That Gamera could be, with him hunching over like that, it could probably only be 16 inches tall or something. I would figure he wouldn't be as tall as the Godzillas, which would be fine. But Hadra would have to be 22, I would think. 20 to at least 22 inches tall, 22, maybe even 24, just to scale with the Godzilla. Like my 68 custom, like I said, it is right at 18 inches tall, maybe a smudge more, I'm not sure, but it's right in scale with the others, and Hadra towers over Godzilla, so I would say at minimum a gigantic Hadra, this thing would have to be 22 inches tall. But it would be cool to just see and have these figures in gigantic scale, exact same figure, no changing of the paint, no changing of the sculpt, just these as is, but in gigantic. I would really love to see something like this. I'd like to know what everybody else would like to see as their gigantics they would pick from their collection of X Plus. What would be the gigantics you guys would pick? It would be cool to see what everybody chooses. I thought this would be an interesting topic, and that's why I decided to get up this Sunday morning and do this video. Also, of all the guys I mentioned at the beginning, the YouTubers, if they do a video on it, I can't wait to see and hear, or just them post their picks of what 5 X Plus figures would you blow up from their current state to a gigantic form. Here's mine. Here's my list right here. I would love to see what everybody else thinks. Alright everybody, I will bring the camera forth here momentarily to do a close-up of these figures. I want to thank everyone for their time and attention as always. This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room here in Greater Cincinnati, and I wish you all a great, fun-filled, kaiju-filled day.